The state government appears to be heeding Lord Mayor Campbell Newman's call to help buy back some of the thousands of homes that flooded in Brisbane. Anna Bligh says people who'd resisted calls to sell their flood-prone homes may feel differently now. And the man who investigated the flood mitigation prospects of the Ivanhoe Dam says the community simply can't afford for people to live in areas which keep going under.
Professor Trevor Grigg says there are only two things to do with flood-prone properties: rebuild them higher or buy them back and bulldoze them for parkland.
Even though those individuals say, I like it here, I'll bear the risk, the fact is the whole community has to support their occupants of the floodplain. We have to do the cleanups. We have to reinstate the assets. It impacts on insurance.
Almost 40 years ago, the state government commissioned Professor Grigg to assess the flooding risk that would come after Ivanhoe Dam was built. With the flood 2 weeks ago, he says homeowners should now be forced to keep documentation showing their property's flood risk and the associated evacuation plan.
We love being near the river, but we've got to be sensible about whether the community can afford the kind of expense that will eventually occur again unless we act.
Brisbane's Lord Mayor says his council has bought about 45 properties in the flood zone since 2006, but has been constrained by a lack of money.
We requested that the state go 50-50 with us, and that was declined. It would be terrific to see the state on board.
We actually haven't had very much take-up from the buyback scheme. Now that we've seen this sort of flooding, we may well find people with a different view, and we need to make sure that they have an opportunity, if that's the best way, to protect that part of Brisbane or any other regional part of Queensland.
And the Premier's trying to clear up confusion about the means testing of the second round of payments from her flood relief appeal.
The Victorian bushfire appeal had a means test, Cyclone Larry's appeal had a means test, and the trigger was around the $100,000 income mark. That's where I would hope we would land.
She says a firm decision about the cut-off still hasn't been made. James Kelly, ABC News.